And I think it's actually 8 o'clock. So I would just say, welcome to curriculum and instruction. Welcome to whatever it is that's going to happen here, this grand experiment that we're kind of going through. I very much appreciate you guys being here today. And I think what I will say right away is this, which is, this is pretty, well, not pretty unprecedented. This is like the most unprecedented thing that's happened during my lifetime. That includes like 9/11 and all that stuff. And so if it comes down to the fact that you can't always be here at 8 o'clock on Tuesday and Thursday mornings, I'm totally okay with that. It is what it is. And, you know, some of us are going to have bandwidth issues. I know some of us in this class are actually, when you traveled out of Maryville, you went home to other states that are, in some cases, I think one of you is from New Mexico, and that's like at least 1 hour, if not 2 hours behind us here. So, you know, don't come to class at 6 in the morning. We'll record these things. And if you can't make it, great. And come back and we'll do it. The only thing I would ask is, if you're ever paired up with somebody, do your best not to flake out on that person. You know, that's my one ask with that. So I'm going to see if I can share a screen. Thumbs up if you can see this. It should say Intro to Curriculum and Instruction. Man, that's wonderful. Okay, so here's the plan. Whoops, maybe there's the plan for the day. We're going to be welcomed. I'm going to welcome you, and eventually you're going to welcome each other. One thing I will tell you, I'm going to stop sharing here for just a second. If you move your cursor, you still call it that, little arrow thing, up to the top kind of right hand of your screen, you can mute and unmute yourself. So if you don't want us to hear your heavy breathing during, you know, during the day, or if you're slurping coffee there, I see you, Emily, I see you. I'm assuming that's coffee. At this point, who knows what it is and who cares, really, right? So if you want to mute yourself, you can mute yourself. If you want to play your loud music in the background, there also is an option there. If you don't want us to see your shining, smiling face at 8 o'clock on a Tuesday morning, you can also, let's see, I think it's stop video, and then your name will appear. I'm going to try that for a second. Did my name appear there? Yes. Okay. So, okay. And then you can start video, and, you know, you can do your stuff again. So that's where we're at. If you wanna wear your hoodie and throw your hood up there, I see you, Kaylin. I see you. You're my family. We just got done watching the Star Wars saga, so you're throwing off some serious Jedi/Sith vibes there. So
just trying to stay comfortable.
You know what? Hoodies are comfortable. If I could wear one today, I would totally. So I'm going to go back to the share screen here. And so the first thing would be just welcome to all of you. Second thing is relax, because for a number of reasons, as I said, this is going to be a fairly, as much as I can make it, stress-free class. And some of the other assignments, as far as I know, I have taken off all of the, like the day-to-day assignment work that you would have done in the class. Not that we might not do that in the framework of when you're here, but if I ask you to turn stuff in, for the most part, it's going to be just turn it in and I'll give you a grade for it. But here's the other thing. I've said this often when we met in shinier times. Grades are stupid, points are stupid. I can make your grade be anything I want it to be. So here's the things that you have to get done in order to get through the class. Let me share the screen again. You see at number 3 there, what do we need to get done? It's all about the competencies, okay? So by the end of this, I think we've got 6 weeks left now. By the end of the 6 weeks, these are the things that you have to get done. Competency assessments 1 through 4, which is an annotated unit plan, and we'll get to that eventually. It won't be a today thing, but we'll get to it eventually. You're going to need to do competency assessment 8, comparing understanding by design and project-based learning unit plans. And then the last thing that you have to do, kind of the big wrap up at the end of this 6 weeks, is you have to design your own lesson plan. Some of you maybe for the first time, okay? Those are the 3 things that we have to get done. All the other stuff, I don't really care. All the other stuff, sometimes if you're here on an 8 o'clock session, I might have you get together and talk about the stuff. Sometimes I might even have you turn it in. There's going to be a quick thing that I'm going to have you do to turn in today. There's a usefulness for that, and I'll get to that here in a second. But if I can avoid having you actually do it, I'm going to avoid having you do it. Okay. Just for simplicity's sake, those are the three things that you have to get done. Those I can't finagle at all. Those things you have to get done. The other thing on that is just like the principles of assessment class. If you turn it in and it's not quite right, we'll re-up it. You know what? So basically what I'm saying is, if you turn your stuff in, you're going to pass the class. And if you don't turn your stuff in, I'm going to hound you until you turn your stuff in so that you can pass the class. That's the deal. And as much as we can simplify that for you, that's what we're going to do. Okay. So share screens again. Let's just kind of dive into it. There's some get to know you activities that we often do for this class, like find someone who, which is where you all get up together and run around and breathe on each other and stuff. So thanks COVID-19, we can't do that. But I am going to try to do a meet and greet Zoom practice. And what I mean by that is, somehow on this thing, I can create breakout rooms. So I'm going to do an experiment here where I see if I can throw you guys into rooms of like 3 individually. And it might be a little awkward, but I just want you to say hello to each other and kind of what you've been doing for the last like 2.5 weeks, mostly, which is probably chilling out and hopefully, you know, what's self-isolating? What's the social distancing? Hopefully you've been social distancing. But I'd say as like, I'm an only child and I'm an introvert. So like social distancing for me, I've been prepping for this my whole life. So this has been going okay for me. So I'm going to try these breakout rooms. There are 19 of you here, and I'm going to put you into 5 rooms. I'm going to do it automatically. I'm going to create these rooms, and then I don't know what's going to happen. I think what's going to happen is you're just going to be seeing those 3 or 4 people in those rooms. I'm going to do that for like 2 or 3 minutes. You just kind of talk to each other. What have you been doing? What's your name? You know, what's your name? What have you been doing? See what that goes. Feel the awkwardness that's going to create. And then we'll come back here in a couple minutes and you're going to tell me if that worked or not. Okay, so I'm going to click my creating rooms button and I'll see you on the other side. Right, open all rooms. Okay, here we go. Wait, hang on. Options. Breakout rooms close automatically after 30 minutes. No, we're not going to do 30 minutes. Countdown. Set countdown timers. Okay. See you on the flip side. Okay, so what happened there? What happened?
I was just put into a group with like 4 people and we all just talked in there about the quarantine.
Okay, quarantine, okay. So it actually worked then. When I did that, when I pushed the button, like 4 of you showed up in a random room. I noticed that when it popped up on my screen, like when I could scroll over all your names and I had the option to move you. So it's like, I could have like made one of you disappear from the group automatically. It would have been like you were being taken up. So I felt very powerful in that moment. But I refrained from doing any of that. So okay, I know that works. So that's good. So we're going to revisit that here toward the end. So that's good to know that that works. Oh, and it's really weird because now you're appearing in different places on my Brady Bunch screen. You were all in one area and now you're in other areas. So that's news to me. Okay, all right. So I'm going to share my screen again. So just some things to kind of roll around in your brain. If I were to put you back in random groups, I would have you, contemplate these questions again, but I don't want to shake your systems up too much. So just theoretically or hypothetically, kind of think of these questions. What is it that you think of when you hear the word curriculum? This is curriculum and instruction class. What do you think of when you hear the word instruction? And what do you think that this course will be about? Well, hopefully those have called into your brains the idea that this is going to be about curriculum and instruction. And here are some definitions. You can read those. I won't read those to you. Curriculum and instruction are different. Curriculum is the content, and the instruction is the way in which you deliver that content, okay? Both are related. I mean, the curriculum is the stuff that you as a teacher are expected to get through over the course of a school year in your classroom. But the instruction is the method by which you deliver that curriculum. That's the difference. And so, as I've said before, you can take a look at the syllabus if you'd like to, but we're going to try to go, day by day as it says in the syllabus. But what is it that we actually have to get done in the time that we have? Those are the things, as I kind of alluded to earlier. And so, as we make a connection between curriculum and instruction, we also need to think about the idea of assessment and how that brings us to the point where we are now. And so if we look at the stuff that kind of we did in the framework of the last semester, the last block. So can you see me moving this cursor arrow here? Can you see that moving? Okay. So if you look at what we did in terms of last block, we did all of this stuff: the pre-assessment, the data analysis, the goal setting, and the assessment. The thing we didn't do was the instruction. And maybe some of you noticed that when you did the data analysis of the assessments that you wrote, like, wow, they didn't know question 3 at all. Well, it's probably literally because you did not instruct in that at all. It was just a made up assessment. So this is where this particular course fits into that idea. It's along the way, but as we talked about, when you broke down the standards, here, I'm going to stop sharing for a second. As we talked about last block, the first thing that you did is you looked at your standards, you kind of broke down those standards, then you designed the assessments that students would have to complete in order to show that they had met those standards. That's what we did last block. Now we're going to go back and fill in the blank, fill in that gap, and teach you how to design instructional strategies so that you can help your students meet those assessment criteria at the end. The whole process is called backward design or understanding by design, and we'll get into the terminology of stuff like that later. But the sentence that you would want to remember with that is begin with the end in mind. Look at the standards, figure out what the standards actually mean, design the assessments that students have to get to, and then go back and design your instruction so that students can meet those assessment objectives that you've established. And that's what this particular course is about. So let me start sharing again here. So we did all this other stuff: the pre-assessment, the data analysis, the goal setting, the assessment itself. That was all first block. This block is completely about instruction. So we changed the focus, which I think is what I've been talking about for the last 2 or 3 minutes. So I don't think we need to harp on that too much. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you a quick assignment, and then we're going to wrap up today. It's what are we? We're 15 minutes into this, so this is actually pretty good. We'll probably be about 20 minutes, and we'll be done with this today. Let me stop sharing for just a second. I'm going to give you a quick assignment, and this is after I just said that there were hopefully no, the 3 things that you have to get done are those assessment competencies. But I am going to give you a quick assignment. I'm going to throw you into a group so you can figure out how you want to complete that together. And the reason I'm doing that is because there's a lot of terms that are going to come up this block that you may not have heard before, like a lot, like more so than any of the other courses that you've been in so far. Okay, at least education courses. And so I want to make sure that you've got at least a little bit of a footing in those terms. And so I'm basically going to go back to like those vocab activities you did when you were in middle school and high school. And that may not be the most, it's not the sexiest way to do things, but for our purposes now, it's probably the most efficient way to do things, okay? And so what you'll see eventually, and let me share my screen again, and I'll show you where to get this eventually, this thing too. I'm going to show you how to get to this thing called a curriculum terminology scavenger hunt. And you'll notice that there are multiple terms here that we're going to look at over the course of our time together, this block. Transfer goal, learning objective, backward design, enduring understanding, blah, 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 blah. You can read those things. What I'm going to ask you to do, there's a glossary of terms that's embedded in module 1. There's also this thing called the internet with Google. You may have heard of it. I'm not sure it's going to catch on, but I feel like it's probably fairly ubiquitous. So I'm going to ask you to use the glossary and or Google to kind of find the definitions for all of these terms, because I promise you that we will be talking about most or all throughout the course of this block, okay? So I want you to have kind of some background knowledge about those things. And so, let me share my screen again, a different screen. Which one? This one, we'll see. Okay, this is our course website. This is my version of it. I don't know that yours looks exactly like this. And just for kicks, what I've tried to do, see these other assignments that we theoretically have had and see how I've unpublished them. I don't know in your course site if you can see these or not, but I've tried to get rid of those assignments. And if we have to do them, we'll do them just in the framework of a session like this, okay? I've tried to get rid of those. So if you see those pop up, you got to let me know. But otherwise, the ones that I've left are just those competencies. And then this one, which is called the scavenger hunt of curriculum terms. So you see it right there. It's in week 1. You use this thing called the glossary curriculum terminology or Google to fill it out, okay? So the last thing that I'm going to do today is I'm going to put you back into some random groups of probably 3 or 4. And then what I want you to do in that random group is divide up the terms among yourselves. Like alphabetical order is probably a good way. You do A through H, you do whatever. You're college students, you can figure that out. But the goal would be so that you don't have to do all of them yourself, that it's not going to take you all that long to do. Maybe you create a Google Doc as a whole or something like that. But the important thing is that all of you, when you turn this in, need to have all the terms on the sheet. Does that make sense? Like, so that you can reference it back if you ever need to when something comes up that you're like, I'm not sure what that is. I need to do a little more reading on that. Okay, so that's the goal. That's why we're doing it, just to give you kind of a heads up on some of the stuff that's coming down the pike later this block. So I'm going to randomize those groups again. As soon as you have the stuff divided up in the way that you want to and a way that you can communicate that with each other, you're welcome to kind of get out of the group and come back, and then we'll do a quick wrap up and we'll be out of here for the day. Does that sound like a plan? Oh, it's 8 o'clock. Okay, there's a little bit of head bobbing. Okay, that's good. Okay, that's good. All right, so once again, thumbs up, just a quick thumbs up if you remember how to get to that. It's in module 1, the curriculum terms, and then the glossary is there. Okay, all right. So I'm going to throw you into some more breakout groups. Oh, actually, can I put you back in the, I can put you back in the same groups. Oh, sweet. Okay, see you here in a few minutes. Rhiannon, I still see you. So I'm wondering if you haven't joined your breakout room yet. There you go. If anybody actually does listen to this recording, like there's going to be 2 5-minute blocks of me just staring blankly at the screen. So we'll see how that goes. I think I could pause it, but I'm afraid to try it right now because I don't want to ruin the whole thing. So we'll see.
Hello again.
Hello. All right. I think everybody's back. We went from like 8 people to 20 people.
I got it. I got it, Maddie.
Okay. If you guys need more time at the end, I'll do it. But I wanted to bring this back and just kind of wrap it up a little bit. We'll come back on Thursday. We'll try to do this at 8 o'clock on the yeah, I'm cringing as I'm saying that because I'm home with my children and everybody now. So this is um, hopefully we'll all be in good spaces when we get here at 8 o'clock on Tuesdays and Thursday mornings. If bandwidth ever becomes an issue for me, I may have to do some pre-recording and just uploading. I hope that's not the case, but I know that when I did the first class yesterday, bandwidth for whatever reason was an issue and I cut in and out. So I'm glad that I haven't done that yet today. At least I don't think I have. The other thing I would say is, just to reiterate this, if you can't make it during this time, then that's okay. There's no attendance policy or requirement. The only thing that I would ask is that if for some reason you're ever put into a group with somebody, I don't know how we'll do the lesson plans or we have to do a unit plan annotation. I'm not sure if we'll do it group wise or if we'll just do it individually. I'm not sure how that shakes out. I have to look a little further ahead than I have. If you ever get put into a group with somebody, please don't flake out. Please do what you can. Even if you're not in the class itself, try to honor your partner and that contribution. The other stuff, as I said, you're on the hook for those 3 assessment competencies, and that's it. I'll try to record all of these sessions so that you can come back and look at them. The PowerPoint should all be up there, the course website. It should all be unlocked except for the assignments that I've taken off. If those start to pop up for you for some reason, let me know. I'll try to get rid of them even more. I'm not sure how I can do that, but I'll try. Other than that, any questions that you guys have? Anything that's really worrying you, pressing on your minds as far as this class is concerned? Okay. It's really cool. It's like I'm looking at the Brady Bunch all shaking their heads. So that's, and maybe I shouldn't use that reference. That's like a 60s TV show. So if you don't know it, Google it and it'll pop up, I'm sure. But other than that, just stay safe. Don't be dumb. Sometimes my experience with 20-somethings is they can be really intelligent and yet do really dumb things. That works with 40-something people too. So be what you need to be in order to be safe, and get that assignment done. I think there's a due date on it. Do the best you can. It just firms. Like I said, we need to kind of get those out so that we know what's coming. And with that, I will see you guys on Thursday at 8 a.m. And hopefully this will continue to work. I think it went pretty smoothly today, and that's a credit to you guys. So thank you very much, and I will see you later.